Yeah, good morning, good evening, and good grief. Welcome to CarBoyz. We are back
Welcome.
again with our new music, courtesy of royalty-free music, my favourite band, which I always use whenever I'm in need of music. I said we're back again like a renegade master. Do you remember that one?
I do.
Default
I do.
Damager. Power to the people. We're the number one radio show that talks about cars and with absolutely no pictures. And yes, the only one as well. We've got plenty of stuff this week to focus on, of course. Our classic car section this week. We go to Poland via Italy.
I think I know how we're going.
Good. We'll also be taking a peek at my bulging sack in the car, as usual, in the CarBoyz post bag. The weekly car quiz is on its way, and this week it's my turn to quiz my co-host Simon. And as per usual, we'll have all the news that's fit to print and read in the news segment of the programme.
And it is I, Leclerc.
Nelly.
Sorry, I got a bit confused. I thought it was an episode of Hello, Hello. I listened very carefully. I should say this only once because we'll be talking all things French. Should I drop the accent?
I think so. And also our demographic, hopefully, is under 40. So they're going, what's a lower low?
But we'll be talking French cars this week in a section we're going to be calling Designed Over Engineering. And yes, we'll be looking at lots of French cars, which are actually really crap to live with. As Rich mentioned also, that will be usual features like the news, the quiz, and a whole host more that you'll only overhear in a pub, like two old men that we do when we're in the pub. Such as, what is the best car that you've seen in a pop video?
Do they make pop videos anymore?
I don't know. I've not watched MTV since about 2001.
Yeah, but if you watch MTV, it's programs like Geordie Shore and New Jersey Shore or whatever that's called. There's no pop music. You have to go to like MTV Bass or MTV Rock, I think.
But anyway, there'll be that and a whole host more, including tea in Starbucks. And did you ever take a date out for a meal in Wetherspoons?
No, I'm too old. If it was around, if I was dating now, I certainly would.
Anyway, I'm Simon Sujuan and I drive a Mini, and positive discrimination is okay. Actually, it's not. It's a con because I've never, ever worked for the BBC or an estate agent.
And I'm Richard Green, and I used to think I was Irish, but now I've discovered I'm Danish. And even though I belong to a minority group, a brother cannot get a break.
And this is, of course,
CarBoyz.
CarBoyz.
Of course, welcome to the show. Before we start the car news, which I'm just about going to start, we're now on Facebook. I'm going to give everybody all the Facebook links. We're on Facebook as CarBoyz, so that's CAR-BOYZ. Twitter, we're at CarBoyz at CarBoyz, so that's car-boys at car_boys. So a hyphen, then an underscore. Don't ask me why. I tried the other way. It wouldn't let me do it. The email to get to the mailbag, because everybody wants to touch the, is car-boys at outlook.com. So car-boys, remember boys with a Z, because we still think we're down with the kids, at outlook.com. Oh, and when I did Facebook, there was something that said Impressum. Do you know what that is?
No. Have you pressed it?
I said name, address, and it said Impressum, and so I went, well, apparently it's Latin. Well, I said Impressum. I do not a bad Michael Caine and a pretty poor Christopher Walken. No, apparently that's something to do with the legal requirements and everything signed off. Right. And as we're very, very, very disorganised, I just left it as I do a very poor Michael Caine and a bloody awful, crazy Christopher Walken. Are you ready for some news?
I am, are you?
Yes. And hopefully the news cart is as well. Oh, do you know it's broken? Here we go. News. Well, this is a bit of a longer intro than I thought. Oh. Okay, now. Oh, no, what I'm supposed to do over the top of that traditionally would have been going, and this week in the news, we look at A, B, C, and D. But first, explosion, this. Last week we reported that Jaguar design boss Ian McCallum, no relation to David
McCallum,
has stepped down. Worst news this week for Jaguar. 2,500 workers at Castle Bromwich, where the XJ Saloon is currently being made, could be moved to a 4-day working week. They're voting on proposals rather than risk more redundancies. The plans, which could see the plant in operation from Monday to Thursday, were detailed to workers in a document entitled the Merlin Gateway Agreement. Briefing states, we are proposing a new 37-hour week, 4-day shift pattern.
Hang on. Let me just check my calendar. It's not 1975, is it?
No, but then that's the thing. I think those were back in the day when the workers wanted a 4-day week. This is sort of being hoisted on, I'm guessing, by the Indian owners. But
yes,
what can you do? Jaguar having awful problems selling product in China on the downturn, having problems selling product in America due to reliability issues. You would have thought that they could. There's no reason they can't keep that on. But the XJ Saloon is coming to an end soon.
Oh, that's the big Jaguar, isn't it? The big executive one.
Yes. Effectively, it's Ford Mondeo. And far be it for me to say Ford Parts bit, but it does look like a Ford Mondeo. I
do like the fact it's called the Merlin Gateway Agreement, and I'm kind of thinking it's like someone stood there with a wizard's outfit.
You shall not pass. Is it something to do with the Merlin Spitfire engines?
I don't know, but they were Rolls-Royce. Castle Bromwich, is that? And now, correct me if I'm wrong. So it's when you drive on the M6, you see. Was it the old Dunlop factory?
Yeah, that's Birmingham. Fort Dunlop. Castle Bromwich will be more towards the west. I'm really sort of trying to work out where it would be, but I've got a feeling Telford is where they built the Spitfires. I just wonder if it's called the Merlin Major. It might be something completely different. We don't know. You've got another Jaguar bit of news, I gather.
Yes, former Jaguar test driver Norman Hewis has passed away, aged 98. He was a key part of the company's success in the 1950s in the Le Mans 24-hour and was also their chief test driver. He also helped develop the C-Type and the D-Type, that's the original D-Type, that won the races between 1951 and 1957. And he was also co-driver to Stirling Moss, the legend that is Stirling Moss. He apparently, now I don't know if you know this, but Jaguar used to lie about the speeds of their cars.
Yes, because I read this story and I obviously rewrote it for copyright reasons.
Yes.
And I went, there was something like 170 mentioned. And I went, nah, none of those 1950s Jaguars did 170. I heard they'd sort of rounded things up a little bit.
Well, apparently also the real E-Type Jaguars, the original Mark ones, couldn't do those speeds, but they gave a whole load of journalists some press cars. And the press cars were the ones that could actually hit those sorts of speeds, not the actual production models. But they are the reasons why we have a speed limit here in Britain on our motorways.
On the M1?
Yeah.
Well, originally on the M1, I suppose.
Yeah, that's where they took the cars up the M1, and that's the reason why.
Yeah, no, I was under them. It's something like 1962, 63. They're driving an E-Type Jag up the M1, doing well over a ton, and the police thought, you can't really use this as a test track. I mean, that's at a time when the fastest car anybody had was probably an Austin A40. You were lucky to get 60 out of it. Your 0 to 60 was, I guess, measured in months rather than seconds. Yeah, days. Unsurprisingly, that they introduced the speed limit. Frightening though that's what are we nearly 60 years on, and we haven't changed those speed limits, which makes no sense.
Well, yeah. If anything, they want to lower our speed limits. But we'll get to that later on.
We'll get to that in a bit. And of course, Jaguar was the D-Type was the favourite, most beautiful car according to the boss of Ferrari. Enzo Ferrari said it was the most beautiful car. And sticking with Italian news, Italian-Argentinian news, performance brand Di Tommaso that's been dormant since 2003 is coming back. The owners are now from Hong Kong. It's celebrating its 60th anniversary by launching an all-new car at the Goodwood Festival of Speed this summer. Images of a disguised prototype posted on social media show that the new model bears a striking resemblance to the Pantera, a mid-engine sports car powered by a Ford V8 and produced from 71 to 93. It looks low-slung, wedge-shaped, similar angular lines to the original. It's codenamed Project P. It suggests that it's going to use the Pantera title once more. This is yet to be confirmed. For all you kids out there, Pantera was a car as well as a thrash band from the 1990s.
I was just going to say that. It's the only car named after a band.
Yes. The car was here first. I saw one outside a working men's club in Warwickshire probably about 30 years ago. No more, 40 years ago. I was a little kid, went, oh, wow, look at that. It's like nothing else I'd ever seen. My dad was like, that's a Pantera.
They should name it. What if we built ourselves a car and we named it after a band? What would it be?
Ooh, the Ford Duran Duran. No, it wouldn't. That would be awful. It would have to be something. It would have to be something that doesn't alien. You couldn't really have the Ford Judas Priest. People are like, oh, it's a bit too hardcore one way. But then you really don't want the Austin Rover. Shwaddy waddy, do you? Nobody's gonna buy that car.
I was thinking the Austin Skid Row.
Ooh, the Austin Skid Row. That was a very good example for what happened to most Austin cars of the 70s and 80s, that they ended up on Skid Row. So it's sort of a future prediction of the future of each individual car.
And I think the way that they drove probably gave you a few skids as well at the same time.
What about I quite fancy something like the Morgan Iron Maiden. I want to drive that. That sounds it would be very Victorian steampunk. Here it comes, the Morgan Iron Maiden with a 1942 Spitfire Merlin engine in it.
With a frame still made of wood.
Yes, there's got to be ash just to add strength. Wood is... Everybody should use wood in cars, yes. Right, you've got a story about electric cars, I gather.
Oh, where would this show be without electric cars? Because we've had one on every show.
Where are all the gee whizzes? Where have they been buried? Do you think Asian Mr. Bean, Sadiq Khan, has gone around London ordering these things to be stolen and hidden? I don't see gee whizzes anymore.
Their batteries probably died out.
And with that, probably the end of the car.
Yeah, probably. It probably costs more than the actual car itself. But anyway, electric cars are being used to help power a small Portuguese island in the Atlantic.
Nice.
Port Santo Island has begun testing a scheme in which the batteries in electric vehicles are charged by solar power. You know, that thing that we haven't seen this week in England. What's that? That's it, the sun.
Hello, God in the sky.
But it's charged by solar power during the day, and at the night, the spare energy to the grid from the people's homes to use to power their homes.
So I hope they get paid for that. You wouldn't want an electric bill saying I've got my gee whiz outside. That's powering the high street.
And what happened if the power run out? Do you have to like bump start the car or something like that?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The nightclub at the end was on all night. You're knackered now, mate. There's no electricity left for your car. I assume it reaches a peak, and then. So let me get it right. So the solar powers are either on the top of the houses or they're next to that. And I assume Porto Santo is probably like Cape Verde. We're around there, so it's hot near the equator. Gets lots of sun. So the solar panels are on the house, I think, and you plug your. So basically, when you've got enough for your house, when you've got enough for your car, any overlap goes back into the system.
Yeah, because it said the return, the spare energy is what's used to power.
Well, that happens over here, doesn't it? That happens anyway. So people that are off grid in the middle of nowhere, and say you've got a water wheel, or some slaves, you've trafficked some Albanians. It's the Sudanese's shift now. They're walking round pushing the wheels. Then you can sell the electric. Have another potato. Keep going, Mustafa. Then you can sell the electric back to the government, and that's a similar. I guess it's a similar sort of thing. But with the power of the sun.
But they reckon though it's a form of energy storage and it's going to be a global trend. But I'm not too sure about that.
Well, it'd be completely useless here, where we never see any sun.
Yeah.
Or you see sun for 3 days in August if you're lucky, and then it goes back to being nighttime, and that's never going to work. What are you going to do if you live near the Arctic Circle? You can only drive your car. You can drive your cars a lot from April through to September, and then you must go to bed.
I think what they should do is power the ones in the Arctic with. Do you remember those slush machines, the Mr. Frosty things? You used to put ice cubes in there, and it used to churn them out.
So like a homemade slush puppy.
Yeah. So what happened is you put it to a dry shaft, you put some ice cubes in or some continental ice shelf on it.
Yes.
And then it would turn into energy, and you would power your vehicle.
I might sort of think you've thought this through. I can't believe there's any science involved with your thinking there. Did you give up physics? Was physics an option at year 3, and then you thought, no?
No, I did physics. Physics was good.
Okay. We'll talk more about later about your qualifications, Professor Simon.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course, 20 mile. And the last news story really is that, and you posted on our Facebook page, that the plans to introduce a 20-mile-an-hour total limit for, is this central London or is this the whole of the capital?
Well, it's saying central London, but what that means, I don't quite know. It's probably going to have some kind of... It's probably like the congestion charge zone. But our mayor is proposing that the speed limit is 20 miles an hour, but I don't get that. So, yeah, during the day, I understand in some places. So if you've ever driven through the middle of like Piccadilly Circus or Oxford Street, places like that, it's an absolute nightmare. You're lucky if you get past 2 miles an hour.
Yes.
Which is fine during the day. During the night, it's actually not that bad.
No.
So does that speed limit apply? Number one. Number two, are there going to be all of those speed cameras about? That's if you drive at 21.5 miles an hour, it's going to flash its light at you and take a picture of your nice shiny car. How's it going to work?
Well, my suggestion to your post, which apparently was rebutted by a few people, was this is purely revenue raising because the speed is kept down in central London. Where I live on the outskirts of London, they're trying to introduce a 20 mile an hour limit, and people are up against it because cars stop a lot quicker than they did in the 1950s when we came up with a 30 mile an hour limit for urban areas. So 20 seems a bit ridiculous. You get more pollution at a local level because people are driving slower, cars emitting more rubbish. That's worse for the kids, worse for the joggers, worse for the people on foot. So that's not a good thing. And the central London, most of the time you are forced to drive below 20 miles an hour. So if you were to take it an average, you could enter it and you would do well below 20 miles an hour for most parts of central London. But so my suggestion to your Facebook post was, well, okay, if they're going to do this is going to be revenue raising. There's going to be speed cameras everywhere. It's literally there to snap people going over 20 miles an hour. Try and do 20 miles an hour in a modern car. Almost impossible. Almost the hardest thing to do in the world. Really hard to do. So my suggestion...
I often sneeze in my car and it travels at 21 miles an hour.
Exactly. You can literally take your foot off the gas once you've started it, touch the gas and you're doing 20. My suggestion would be for everybody to go out and buy a car in Poland and just bring it back. And there's no speed restrictions, no tax, no MOT, no insurance, and no tickets, no traffic tickets. You can just, as long as you learn the Polish for "I'm sorry, I don't speak English," then you're fine. We've got more Polish-Italian car features our classic car of the week. That's coming up later in the show. Actually, it's not. It's coming up right now. I should read my own script, shouldn't I? That would help. The classic car of the week. It is.
Have you got a jingle for this?
No. Hang on. No, I haven't. I can't be asked. This can't.
Have we spent the budget this week?
Yeah, I'm paying non-royalty fees. I think my phone's locked. This is where all the jingles contain. No, I haven't. Anyway, I could give you a bit of guitar. Hopefully, that's not royalty free.
I like that. That's like a kind of Muzak version of
yes.
Fleetwood Mac's The Chain.
It's classical, easy listening. The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. Yes, so we're going to Japan meeting Poland. We had 2 weeks of Jap classics. We had an early 90s Hodger Legend coupe in podcast 1, episode 1. Last week we had a 20-year-old Toyota Celica.
Yeah.
Celica, as they say in America. It's a great Toyota Celica. This week we turn our heads away from the Far East to Eastern Europe. See what I did there? More specifically, Poland, but via Italy. Now, let's be honest, nothing of any motoring excitement has ever really come out of Poland, apart from a Tiger tank fleeing Russians on its way back to Berlin. No, an interesting country, but with no real automotive success or a classic. So you had several engineering companies that moved into the car arena before World War II, FSO, CWS, PZ Linz, and despite all sounding like covert government spy agencies, they never really took the world by storm. But it was a partnership of an Italian motoring giant with another Polish car company that created the country's most iconic, and some would argue best ever motor. Polski Fiat were established way back in 1932, long before Fiat joined forces with Lada to create, the Lada, or effectively give them the machine tools from the old 1960s Fiat 124. Now, the Italians gained the right to manufacture or effectively assemble Fiat cars in Poland under the Polski Fiat brand. This sort of was put on hold, came to an end after the Second World War, but by the late 60s, the Italians wanted to gain a foothold back behind the Iron Curtain, where the locals were still on foot and desperate for cars, and so was born the Polski Fiat 126. Now, it's effectively a rebadged Fiat 126, the early 70s replacement for the Fiat 500. The locals were over the moon, but to be honest, anything was better than commuting to work on either a tractor or a donkey. Unless you're a farmer. Now, these cars became beloved in Poland with 600cc engines and proper Secramesh gearbox, no more double declutching of the old Fiat 500. They're air-cooled with an engine in the rear-wheel drive, pretty sporty as well. Well, relatively 0 to 60 could be achieved, and well, before the end of the week. From 1972 to the year 2000, they produced more than 4 million of these hybrid Polish cars, and they became a beloved classic, gaining the name Maluch, or Maluch, which apparently means little one in Polish. So why are these classics and why should you buy one? Well, first off, it's tiny, and I mean tiny. The thing has no crumple zones, no airbags. You could almost put it in your pocket, which means you can keep it in the garage and still have room for the barbecue coal and an old tyre. It's also very frugal on fuel and running costs. A pre-1978 model, you pay no tax. Over 78, the tax is only 160 a year. Parts are interchangeable with a Fiat 126. And if you fancy, it's an easy car to work on yourself. Its predecessor, the 500, was meant to be fixed by Italians in post-war Italy on the side of the road. So the same can be said for the Fiat 1226. It's a very simple car. Now, the elephant in the room is that this isn't a Fiat 500. And this feature isn't about classics that cost a mint. Fiat 500s about 15 years ago were less than £3,000. Now they're more than 10. So instead, why not choose a Polski Fiat 126? It's the cheapest rear engine car you'll ever own. 1997 car, A1 condition, taxed and tested with a good history, and only 50,000 kilometres on the clock, comes in at just over £2,500. All right, the left-hand drive, okay, they're slow, but they look very cute. They're lots of fun to drive. So do yourself a favour and say, as the Polish say, tak to the Polish Fiat 126. And they modify them in Poland. They go crazy.
Did they?
Yeah. They've got proper sporty versions. If you go over there, it's the boy racer car of Poland. If you were in Poland now, Simon, you would be swapping the Mini for a Fiat 126.
So if you've never seen one of these Fiat 126s, they're the ones that they look like a trainer. If you can put your foot in it, it looks like that cute. That put your foot in the trainer, and the engine's in the back, and it's the ones that sound like a bit like lawnmowers.
Yeah, I think it's got a lawnmower sound. Also, don't you think the back looks a bit like a toaster? There's all those vents. Could I put my bread in here? Looks like a classic Juliet toaster.
Some mozzarella, those Italians. You can put some mozzarella in there. Some
I don't think if you were going to say the prettiest car in the world, I think the prettiest car in the world is a Fiat 500. I think they are
the original 500.
The original the Fiat 500. What from like not the Topolino, so it's a 500, so it's like 58 to 72.
Yeah.
Is the prettiest car in the world, and the best thing to do is take out the gearbox and the engine out of a Fiat 126 and put it into one of those. But they are getting really expensive.
I reckon though they probably handled quite oddly, because obviously the engine's in the back. It probably weighs nothing. You probably need at least 4 friends in the car with you so that it doesn't tip over.
I think balls of steel. And the Polish race them. They do. It's proper boy racing out there with these cars. So they are beloved, but they made 4 million of them. That's the other thing. 4 million is a lot of cars to make.
That is. If you consider, with the Cortina, they made 1 million of each mark, and that was over a however many year period. So yeah, 4 million is quite a lot.
That's a lot of cars. So yes, my recommendation would be get one of those and enjoy it. Expensive classics.
Indeed so. But yeah, decent car.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, shall we move on?
Yes. Can I just mention any suggestions for the classic car? Please contact us on Facebook at car-boyz, Twitter car-boyz at car_boys. Remember, boys with a Z. And you can email directly car-boyz at outlook.com.
It's one of my favourite parts of the show now.
Ooh.
It's the time when we delve into your bulging sack.
Oh, excellent.
And check for some emails and try and relieve that swelling of the sack.
I'm getting music for this. I feel like I need a or sort of like Benny Hill, Carry On. Oh, did you say flower bulging sack, Maureen? Yes, first off, let's have a look at these emails. Hang on, here we go. Dave in Exeter. Please stop banging on about Japanese cars. They're okay, but not exciting. He prefers German cars. Great.
And all his jeans ironed with a crease in it.
Definitely. I like the German cars. They are precise and they work. And also very fast with the jeans and the albums by David Hasselhoff. And also my favourite band is Europe. And Roxette. Why are people from Europe obsessed with Roxette? Sorry.
There's nothing wrong with Roxette. I do like, it's a guilty pleasure of mine. I do like Roxette.
I think that's a sign that you can tell that people don't like music. It's Roxette. And I did many years on local radio, as you can tell. And I had to suffer a lot of Roxette. Yeah, I know a Swiss woman obsessed. I have a German friend obsessed with Roxette. Not so much David Hasselhoff, although I do take the mickey out of him and say that he does love David Hasselhoff. Yeah, all right. I'll let you. Everybody's loud. There are some off the top of my head. I think my musical taste is impeccable, but I'm sure there's some bands that I like that are equally as shameful to behold.
But anyway, Dave, if you want and if you like Dave and you're not happy with our taste in cars, then of course they can write in and put some stuff on Facebook.
Do you know what I think? He has got a point about German cars, but I think he's got a point about German cars up to
85.
Yeah, 85. 90. I'm being generous at 95. When Chrysler took over Mercedes, it was the death knell for Mercedes.
I think the first ones were the what was the car that replaced the 190? I think it was the C-Class Mercedes.
Yeah.
Then they just started falling apart after that. They weren't built like how they used to.
If you go to North Africa now, if you get off a plane in Marrakesh, you will see yellow, dusty yellow and beige W123s from the 1970s picking up tourists. You do not see 90s W124s picking up tourists because they weren't any good.
The important thing is, do they have the gold badges? And
all my friends come with gold badges.
and the tissue box in the back on the parcel shelf.
That is by law. I have done this beautiful carpet and overlaid it over this plastic velour. I was in a car once in Nepal in the Himalayas with no perceivable dashboard. Instead, it looked like a roll of carpet. The gear stick had no knot. It was a Toyota Corolla. I thought we're going on.
Okay.
So there they go, going on about Japanese cars again. I'd say a early 70s, and we're going up a mountain so you have to go up a mountain. You have to catch a flight and then go up a mountain in a car to start walking. It's that far up. We stopped, and I was, why has he stopped? And he ran over to the side of the road, flagged the car down. Some money was exchanged, and he came back with what looked like a litre of oil. I thought, right. Anyway, he went around the back of the car with this. It was like Castrol GTX oil canister. Got back in the car, and he just looked at me and smiled and went, "We ran out of petrol, sir." What's that? So he just stopped the car and bought some petrol on the way. There wasn't any petrol stations on the way up the Himalayas.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
So I think, Dave, that was a Japanese car that got me out of a fix. I think there are some beautifully engineered German cars. I think Porsche still continue to do an all right job, but I think the build quality, and I had an M Sport, 2012 M Sport, and I was really disappointed in it. It cost me a fortune to run.
Myself and Rich, we were in Berlin back in October, and we were wandering around the streets of Berlin, and there was a beautiful, I think I took a picture of it, a beautiful 911, the new 911.
Yes.
Oh, and it looked absolutely incredible. And I think the guy whose Porsche it was probably looking at us, looking at his car.
I have it. Look, the foreigners love my car. And when you said wandering around the streets of Berlin, I just wanted to do that Scorpions. From
nothing wrong with the Scorpions.
It's such a great band. Okay, so yes, we also got to, as we mentioned on a previous podcast, we got to drive a fantastic Trabant around Berlin, which is a proper car.
Which I think is on our Facebook page.
Check out, you can check out. There's 2 VTs on the Facebook page of an amazing tour around Berlin, and we take you past some of the historic sites, more like we're screaming, feeling like we're going to die.
It was either that or die by inhalation of all the fumes coming out the 2-stroke engine.
There's nothing like the smell of oil burning with petrol at the same time.
Anyway, we've got another. I seem to always get the anonymous messages from our listeners who's just scribbled down on this the best and worst cars in a pop video. So, best and worst cars in pop video. Rich, do you remember pop videos?
Just about. I do remember Phil Oakley and the Girls. Don't You Want Me?
Yes.
A Rover
SD1.
Yes, SD1. Which was the car you could have the steering wheel on either side.
Yes, you're right. It was that interchangeable. So it was
interchangeable dash, and then you've got a hole where the steering wheel should have been. I think it was a cubby hole. If you're on the other side, flicked across, then you flicked it across again. I mean, bearing in mind that none of these ever sold in Europe. So why you were bothering doing that for left-hand drive to sell to whom? The Americans don't want this piece of crud. It did in that video. It looks good. It's early 80s. The car was, I want to say it was it Italian designed?
It was Pininfarina styled.
Yeah, styled. Okay.
Because that's why if you squint and look at the front, it looks like a Dino.
Yes.
With the lights.
I think that's quite a cool car in that video. Oh, and of course, ZZ Top, Sharp Dressed Man.
What's that? It's a Ford Hot Rod?
Yeah, it's a Juice Coupe, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, the big red one with the Z on the side.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking the women in the video.
Which is all, isn't it on the cover of their albums?
It's on the cover of Eliminator, the 1983 ZZ Top album. Absolute classic.
Yeah. No, you've stolen one that I was going to say.
All right.
That was the one that did spring to mind. But I remember, I think it was Sting. And you have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Sting, don't you?
I have a hate-hate relationship. What about a love-hate relationship?
But
Sting has a love relationship with himself.
With himself, yeah. I think it was, when was this? It must have been about 2000. He made a music video and he was basically given a Jaguar S-Type for free to use in the video. And I think in the end they used it in the advert for the car.
Oh, really?
On TV. Yeah.
So it was the new. Was it the? That's not the one with the old man nose at the front. Looks like a cockpit. Yeah.
But what I might do is I'll check it out on YouTube later on and stick a link on it on the on our Facebook group so people can see what I'm talking about. But I don't know whether that goes for best or worse. What's your
In my
feelings on
opinion, worse. Everything he's done since he left the police is awful. He's a horrible man. He's just hasn't he done an album with Shaggy? It's
Yes.
terrible.
Actually, I know this because my sister is a big, huge Sting fan.
Yeah, lady. We all have problems.
But Sting has just released an album of cover versions of his own songs.
What? Does he just go home and stare at himself in the mirror? I can't believe I'm so beautiful.
And then count all his money.
I had a friend that went to school with his son and beat his son up. When we were kids, I had a friend who was at private school, and his parents lost a load of money, and he ended up coming to horrible comp that I went to, and he said, "I said, what's your claim to fame? I beat Sting's son up." And you know what I thought? I thought, good. I'm trying to think if I want to say, did Hillman Minks, the band, have a Hillman Minks in their video? I reckon they might have done. They're sort of a late 90s Britpop band. And isn't there a fantastic... No. I reckon, don't look back... Is it look back...
I was going to say...
Yeah.
Are you thinking of the Granada Mark 1 in Park Life by Blur?
You see, now that's a good one. Yes. Didn't Oasis have something like a Ferrari in being driven by this 1970s actor Patrick McNee?
Yes.
It's either a Ferrari, either a Ferrari or a Rolls Royce. Yeah, the Avengers.
It was a roller.
Was it a roller?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's like a 60s. Now that's cool. Like I'm trying. You wouldn't put a crap car in a pop video, not on purpose. The only thing I've got an inkling that there is a Robin Reliant in an AC/DC video. I think their Back in Black album, which is 1980.
Yeah.
There is. I think Brian. There's a video that they shot in the UK with Page 3 girls and Brian Johnson wandering around in a dirty old Mac eating chips, and I've got a feeling he turns up in a Robin Reliant. That's just. I may have made this up in my head. I hope it's true. It's a black and white video, and then he bursts out, and it's all colour. I think it was like one of the first times AC/DC had ever made a video.
We'll check it out on YouTube. When we find these, we'll stick them up on the Facebook page and the Twitter page, so people can see what we're talking about.
I can't think of a terrible car that I've ever seen. Oh, that's disgusting. But we will. I'm going to make it my mission for next week, so we can have last week's questions this week. Sort of thing. So I'm gonna email Steph145.
Hello, Steph.
Hi. Says love the podcast.
Thank you.
Love you guys, but when can you do a section for women's cars? Apparently she drives a Mercedes 400 from the early 90s. It's a great girl's car.
Mercedes are pretty... they make a lot of girls' cars. The original SLK, that's a bit girly.
Yes, that's a girl car. Oh, the Pagoda. Now, I think that is a car I would happily give as a gift to a lady, and lovely lady. And I'd also want to drive myself.
The car or the lady?
Both. If I know a woman that could drive a Pagoda, because those gearboxes were quite tough, certainly I wouldn't give her an auto. It'd have to be a manual. And then like 0 to 60 in about 10 seconds. They're built like.
But it doesn't matter.
Absolute tanks. No.
That's a good one actually. We'll do some research on that. We might do that in a future feature.
Yeah, because I think the stereotypical thing to say to girls is have a Mini, have a new 500.
What do you mean Mini?
Well, have it in pink. No, I'm not trying to like demasculate your car, but it's mind you, I've just admitted that I like the original Fiat 500, so I've made myself in. But the traditional thing was a girl would be given a cute car, a girl would pick a cute car, and they would never pick. But I think there's an element that women do have appreciation of fast cars. I am married to a woman whose dream car is a Subaru Impreza WRX. Yes.
Has to be in blue with gold wheels.
Yes, and the pink decals. And she liked the one to the front. She should kill herself in it.
With the one that says STD. No, STI. That's
Yes.
not STD,
Don't
STI.
spread that around. Nobody wants that. Essentially transmitted diesel.
That's the one.
Yes. Yeah, she drove my grandfather once around the M25 and he got out the car. Had an XR3i. And I said, where's Grandad going? And he said, the pub. She nearly bloody killed me. So she's quite a demon driver, my wife. Yeah, she would have. Yeah, that's on the list of Christmas things.
Brilliant. Let's do our last one now from Sing47. So hello, Sing47, if that's you. He says, he or she says, I live in India and the cars are very expensive. I want to import a new-ish, that's 3 or 4 years old, executive car from Europe. What would we recommend?
Oof. I know that he's going to face problems because the import duty in India is something like 150%. So what I might try and do is, well, the first issue is, whatever he has here, he has to be able to get parts for it there.
Right. Yeah. So, dare I say it, Dave in Exeter won't like this, but we're probably thinking that actually something from Japan would be better from Europe, but he specifically asked Europe. So, what are we thinking?
3 to 4 years old, reliable. I'd probably go German.
Oh, what we're thinking? Audi A6 or 8?
Oh, yeah. Well, he's going to be the only guy driving around in that. It's going to be very unique. It depends how much money he's got. I'd go. If we're talking cash unlimited, I'd get a G-Wagon.
Oh, I like that.
It's going to cope with Indian roads.
Something left field. That's really good. I like that.
Expensive. If he's prepared to have a 20-year-old with high-ish mileage. I lived in Thailand for 3 years, and cars do not go down in price. You see a 30-year-old Jag for 1,500 quid, and you look at it and go, that is just a lot of trouble. Still don't go down in price because these countries don't have a second-hand car market.
But then you'd have thought if he's in India, then surely a Jaguar, it's Indian now.
Ooh, that's an idea.
They just get Tata Steel to just like fabricate new parts.
Yeah. Oh, I like where you're going. That's worth investigating.
And something like the not the XE. What's the XE is a small baby one. But it's the X. What's the other one? The X. I can't remember what it is. The slightly bigger one. But it sits between the XE and the
not the XF.
XJ. XF. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the fella.
Yeah. Yes. It depends how much you've got. He needs to do a lot. This is big investigation, and there could be some money. Having lived in the middle-income countries, yes, money might be passing hands surreptitiously, shall we just say, around envelopes to make. I think the big thing is the parts. How easy it is to import parts, and another country which definitely isn't Thailand, definitely not Thailand. I understand that Harley Davidsons are brought into the country in parts,
right,
and assembled in this country that isn't Thailand, rather than bring in the actual Harley Davidsons, because that incurs tax where the parts only incur a small amount of tax. Definitely not Thailand, which I like. I think that's very clever.
Anyway, that brings us to the end of the letters section.
That's the letters section.
And if anyone wants to contact us, what's the details?
Okay. The email for all your letters is car-boyz with a Z at outlook.com. That's car-boyz at outlook.com.
And on Twitter?
On Twitter, you can contact us at car-boyz at car_boys. Remember, that's boys with a Z. Car-boys at car_boys. And you can find us on the CarBoyz webpage as well. I am available for voiceovers. Jaguar, what a car. So let's move on. We've got a bit of time left. We're 45 minutes into it. Non-car related topics. I haven't been on a date since 1994, so I'm precluded from this question. Have you ever taken a date?
You can't do that.
Yeah, well, I can.
How's this fair?
taken my wife and before that girlfriend to Wetherspoons. So I don't know whether I'd take a date there.
I'm just trying to think now.
Not a first date.
No, I have. She shall remain nameless, but one of the exes, our first date was.
At least it's she.
Was McDonald's in the Trafford Centre in Manchester.
Really?
Yes.
At least it wasn't. I think the previous girlfriend I took to the laundrette with a bag of chips and 2 cans of Kestrel lager.
In a brown bag.
Oh, open carry was legal back then. Nobody gave a crap about 13-year-olds working around with beer and smoking Embassy No. 1s. Nobody gave a toss. They were more concerned with other things like bank robberies. It was growing up tough in the 80s.
But Wetherspoons, no, I don't think I have.
No.
Unless anyone who's listening to this can tell me differently.
Yeah, so remind you of that email address. Again, it's car-boyz@outlook.com. That was great. Yeah, and then the other non-related car topics. We also wanted to know who drinks tea in Starbucks or Costa Coffee.
No.
Nobody.
Who's in the name? It's Starbucks coffee and Costa Coffee.
It's
coffee.
I think my mum's ordered tea before, and I've just looked at her disgusted. There's all these coffees. Why do you want hot water with a tea bag? I take my kids in there and I order, because they're little. I order I said black coffee because I drink black coffee, and I said, can I get two cups with just hot milk on the side? And they're like, yeah, sure. Because then I don't have to pay whatever £1 each for baby chinos. Paying that? I'm already in that. My children are bringing people in.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, you just go, can I just get some hot milk on the side? And they go, okay. I'm going to get another cup, and then I just split up the hot milk, and they get the hot milk. I think I'm great. I'm not just tight. Tightest dad in the world.
Absolute genius. Yeah, no, I would not do tea in a coffee house. Whether it's in this country or any country.
Coffee's pretty bad in Starbucks anyway. That stuff that's been sitting in that big aluminium tin for about 4 years, getting black and burnt. Tasting disgusting. Oh yeah, Brexit. Are we beyond caring about it yet? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we will be beyond caring for the next however many months.
Yes.
Not to get all political.
But no, Boris Johnson hasn't been elected yet, but pretty much it's going to happen, isn't it?
And if you're listening to the repeat of this, he has become.
Well done, Boris.
And if he hasn't.
Yeah, we knew you weren't going to get it, you useless blonde git.
Timeless show.
I must say, I've had success this week. I fixed my dryer without the use of a plumber or an electrician.
How'd you do that?
There's a little module in the back that went bang. It's a little sensor.
Yeah.
And I watched a thing on YouTube, and it told me how to take it out. I love the internet. And I didn't even buy the proper part. It's one of those expensive dryers from Miele, that German company. And it's the little temperature gauge.
Is that all it was?
Yeah, that's all it was. It gone bang. I thought, if I get a guy out, it's going to be 60 quid. This dryer's like 10 years old. So I took off the back plate, and you've got to have those special, I don't know what they're called, the special spanners with the stars that are designed.
Talk ones.
Yeah,
they're called
they're great, but nobody has. I mean, I've got them. I've never used the damn things. Plugged them all in, undid this plate, and there's a tiny little, I think it's the condenser. Undid that, put the new one in, and it works again. 15 quid. And he was the patent part as well.
There you go.
The house on fire.
The show that isn't just entertaining, it's also educational.
I would. And anybody that's going to do that, I bear no responsibility if you kill yourself. Don't do it. Get a qualified electrician in to do that. And if my insurance company is listening to me, my name is not Richard Green. It's Terry Jones. And I didn't do that to my car at all. Hey, we better get on with the quiz.
We do, because we're rapidly running out of time. So this week's quiz is, what type of car is your car? And I don't mean it's a 4x4 or a sports car. I mean specifically what type of car it actually is. Is it a crap, or is it a Ponzi car? I don't know, maybe. Now, this may seem a bit trite, but according to the latest scientific research, do we have a science lab, Rich?
We do. It's carried out by the world's greatest scientists at scientific institutes all over the globe. Cars fall into these two specific groups: A, crap, or B, poncy. Now, my contestant this week, he's a lovely lad. He's come all the way down from Doncaster. He's a pipe fitter. He smokes Embassy number ones, and his name's Simon. Lovely to meet you, Simon. Now, don't forget, your bendy bully and your money are safe, because we don't have either of those things in these quiz. We've got now to give you, son. The prize is just the honour of taking part. I did love Bullseye back in the 80s, and believe it or not, the wife and me was so bored with what was on television, we ended up watching an episode on Challenge TV. We were sat there going, it's Friday night, there's nothing on.
Did they have 3-2-1 on there with Ted Rogers?
The best thing of my life was that they had a I think it was Bob Monkhouse's Full House. Bob's Full House?
Yes.
And while my grandmother was still alive, she died about 5 years ago. She was well in her 90s. She said, "Oh, look, it's lovely to see Bob Monkhouse on the TV." I was like, "He died 20 years ago. This is a repeat, you fool." But she was in the early stages of dementia, bless her. Now, I'll take my northern accent off. I'm your quiz master, Richard Green, and I shall be posing the question, is the car crap or poncy? There are only two categories, scientifically proven. A, crap, or B, poncy.
Okay.
So here we go. We're starting off. VW Polo 1.4 1991.
Which is a square one. VW's built like VWs in those days, so I would just say poncy. B poncy.
No, I'm afraid it's crap. I'm afraid it's crap. The terrible acceleration, and if it was in red, it rapidly turned pink in the sun.
After 60 days.
You've got that wrong. You have to think laterally. The immediate look at the car, don't analyse it too much. A, crap, or B, poncy. Brand new BMW i8.
Crap. A, crap.
No, it's poncy. Of course it's poncy. I'm afraid we're not doing very well. Mercedes W124 diesel non-turbo 4-door with AZA in the number plate in gold, 1989.
Crap.
Yes!
Crap. Yes!
You get it.
All to play for.
All to play for. Oh, don't worry, Benny Bull is safe. It's not here. I don't know where it fucking is. Don't care. Porsche 924 VW van engine. Or the Audi van engine.
Oh, I'll go with A, crap again.
Yes, well done. Well,
fantastic. Yes, I don't hang with this.
Renault 5 1985 GT Turbo.
Was that the one that Andrew Ridgely raced from Wham?
Was he racing away from his gay thoughts in it? Oh no, he was a wasn't he a sports car driver?
Yes, or something like that, supposedly. Therefore, I would go. Therefore, I would go with poncy.
Yes, we're doing well. This is official. Citroen SM 1970s, the DS's Maserati twin.
The Citroen S&M, sorry, the SM. It is the crap.
No, I'm afraid it's poncy.
Ooh.
I'm afraid it's poncy because it is one of the most beautiful cars in the world, with I think an oval steering wheel.
Oh yes.
Not dissimilar to the Allegro. Peugeot 206 2003 shares the same platform with the Citroen.
Can that be crap and poncy?
No, it's just crap. It's just crap. We'll give you that one. Now, a car that looks like a dog doing a shit on a lawn. The Chrysler Crossfire.
Oh, it does. You're right. It does look like that. So it's the
worms scratching.
Poor man's relation to the Mercedes SLK. Is that right?
Yeah.
Crossfire.
It's the previous generation Mercedes,
but had no relevance to what it was before. I would say crap.
Crap. Well done. Yes. I don't know whether this car. This is for some of our American listeners. Whether this car actually made it to the States. Definitely made over here. The Dodge Nitro.
Oh, made new Dodges. I'd go with poncy.
No, I'm afraid it's crap.
Oh,
the Dodge Nitro looks like a giant, hard, scary American 4x4. It's two-wheel drive.
Is that a bit like the Ford Fusion, which was just a Ford Fiesta on steroids?
Yes. What was that one that Austin Rover released? They released a Rover like that, the Streetwise.
Oh, yes.
That was just a Rover 200 with some body panels on. And it wasn't Streetwise because the people driving it were pensioners. It was the British version of the Pontiac Aztec, as driven in Heisenberg in
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, thank you.
Yeah.
1966 Chevy Impala lowrider with airlift, gold lace decals on the roof, and a chain link steering wheel.
Come on. If we're going by the Citroen standards, I would say that's got to be Ponzi.
It is Ponzi. Cool. It is so cool. I would never drive that in East LA because I'd get shot. That just is the coolest. In fact, if you check out our Facebook page and our I think I've posted it on the Facebook page, just the coolest Lincoln Continental hardtop folding into the boot with the music of Carlos Santana. Okay, America again. 1992 Ford Crown Victoria. This was the standard police car.
Police car, yes.
Yeah, and taxis in New York.
Crap. Crap.
Well done. Nissan Micra.
Awful.
Yeah, well done. I'll take your first answer. Toyota Corolla Mark III.
Which one's the Mark III?
Who cares? That's only one answer.
It's a Corolla, so it's got to be. It's got to be crap.
Honda Civic Mark 7 Type R 2003.
Controversial. I'm going with crap.
No, it's Ponzi. I'm afraid it is It's a Ponzi car. Datsun Cherry.
Awful car. That one would be. Yes. I would say crap.
Crap. Yeah, one of our RE teachers had one of these, and my brother and his mate egged the car one day. When I was teaching RE, it was just. It looked like somebody had taken a classic 70s Ford and put it in the hot wash. It was tiny. Yes. Ford Orion.
Now, I would say there've been some cool Orions, like the 1600 gear injection. So that was cool. So I would go with Ponzi.
No, it's crap. It's a Ford Orion.
It had the same engine as the XR3i.
Yeah, which is a cool car, but not a Ford Orion. Ford Orion looked like a child draw it. You give a car, forget my 3-year-old a pencil, draw a car for daddy. That's what the Ford Orion looked like. And all I can think in my head right now is those horrible buttons for to put the tapes in.
Oh, yes.
You press those. I think a mate of mine also had like a 1.3 or something like a 1.5 diesel.
Oh, it would have been the old CVH diesels, yeah.
It wasn't good. This is really controversial because I think you can go two ways. Morris Ital, 1980s.
So this is a
British car design, badly made British car,
styled by an
Italian design house, 1980. The sedan or the saloon.
So it's kind of like when you think of styling cars, it's got to be Italian, so it's got to be styled really, really well. So I would go. Oh, I don't know. This one will go. I would crap. I'd go with crap.
I would have taken that a couple of years ago, but I think it's moved to Ponzi. Really have, because I think there's so few of these things left that if you drive it and you had a beard and you like craft ale, you would be a hipster. Honestly, imagine.
Yes.
Yeah. Look at my car. Yeah, I just don't care. I'm a Ponzi.
What is it? It's an Ital.
It's an Ital. Let me tell you and bore you in the pub. Hey, there's some great craft ale here. Do you mind if I smoke my pipe? Git. Have I told you my story about a guy going past me once on a penny farthing in Old Street in London?
No.
I came out of work on a break, working a sort of 12-hour shift, and I was just in a bad mood, and this guy just went past with tweed on and a moustache.
Good day to you.
Good day! I'm off to buy craft ale. What I was praying for was like drunken Polish lorry driver. I have penny farthing stuck on the rear wheel of car. Again. Okay, so this will here we go to in relation to the last question. Morris Ital estate.
Estates have never really been cool apart from the Volvo 850, so I'd go with crap.
Yeah, well done. And finally, MGB GT 1970s 3-litre, the Jubilee version, I think is 74.
Is that the one with the rubber bumpers?
Mm.
Ooh.
Gold decals, gold wheels, leather interior. 3-litre.
For the win, I'd go for Ponzi.
You've won that, yes.
Yay!
Hey, you've done ever so well. It's lovely as you come down from Doncaster. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You had 12 right out of around about 20. So you've done well. You've won bugger all, but you can brag to your mates in the pub. And you've been on this programme, which obviously I'm turning into. I don't know. So I think I'm turning into Jeff Boycott here, or possibly Michael Parkinson. Nobody gets cheaper than that, and also you get a free Parker pen. That is it.
That was Michael Parkinson.
It was. Joining me tomorrow on the show is the renowned boxer Muhammad Ali, Sammy Davis Jr., and recounting us with stories from Hollywood, David Niven.
That's really good. I like that.
I shall. Do you think I could do that for a living, Michael? Just random Michael. I don't look anything like him. Random, just audio Michael Parkinson impressions.
By going by that, therefore, that makes me Emu and Rod Hull.
Yeah, that's right. It does. Hang on, I'm queuing up the music. That's it from us this week. Email the boys at car-boys@outlook.com. We will endeavour to answer your questions, be they car related or not. So join us then. And I suppose it's good night from me, and it's
good night from him.
Now get lost, get alive, and enjoy the music. Ah.